The following is a sponsored program paid for by First Alliance Credit Union. Welcome to Good Money Moves, featuring Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
It's time again for Good Money Moves. I'm Andy Brownell, along with Jenna Taubel, Director of Brand and Digital Member Experience with First Alliance Credit Union. Hi, Jenna.
Hey, Andy.
So last week, we talked about some of the limitations of a budget.
Yeah.
What's the topic for this week's Good Money Moves?
Yeah, so Thanksgiving, right around the corner, and you know what the day right after Thanksgiving is, right?
Oh, yeah. Not a big fan. Black Friday. And then, of course, Cyber Monday.
Yes, yeah, which that's really my holiday, Cyber Monday, not so much the Black Friday shopping.
Shop from your couch.
Yes, yeah, I don't like to actually leave my home. It's too cold now.
Okay.
But yes, yeah, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, kicking off the holiday shopping season. That's really what this is all about. And it's, Black Friday, it's the day where people try to get some really crazy deals. Like you hear those stories about the $10 waffle iron or something similar that everybody just has to have. And it's, whatever the trend is for this year, I don't think maybe it'll be a waffle iron. I don't know. But
remember when everybody stood in line all night long and then got into fights over whatever the toy was for that year?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That is what I'm thinking of as we talk about this.
No,
yeah.
thank you.
Not only is there competition for stuff, but it's also obviously for retailers, it's a competition for the money in your wallet. And so, according to one study on a website called Finder, approximately 60% of the people surveyed said that they bought an item on Black Friday only to regret it later.
I would have thought
right,
that
and this
higher.
Is because, 60% is not a small number of people either, right? I mean, the retailers know that you are in search of a quote unquote good deal, and they know all the ways to kind of get you to spend more than you want, right? So it's not really necessarily the shopper's fault for kind of falling victim to these psychological tactics that retailers use to get you to spend more. And if you look out for some of these traps, you can actually avoid spending some of that money that you weren't intending to. So you don't fall into that 60% of people who regret some of their holiday shopping buys because they were kind of tricked into buying something thinking it was a good deal.
Knowledge is power, right? This is awesome. Okay. I hadn't actually put that much thought into it, to be honest with you, but I can see where it certainly makes sense that the retailers would try to entice the shopper to drop more money in their store than the next store or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So I guess what would be the first Black Friday trap that we could avoid?
Yeah. So first and foremost, the first trap is really letting those discounted items influence your spending. And one of the reasons that shoppers, like you mentioned, climb over each other and start throwing punches to get at those discounted items is because that deal just feels like it's so good. They just have to have it, or they're like missing out on some great opportunity, right? And it's that fear of missing out, the FOMO, right? And it can lead you to buy things you don't actually need and weren't planning to buy. And that's true not just during the holiday shopping season either. Anytime there's something on sale or a discount, don't you always go check it out just to know what it is and know maybe this is a good deal, right?
It's 60%
so for instance,
off.
You might be, yeah. Oh, 60% off. Yeah, that's great. I need it now. You would, but you didn't, right? It's a trap. So you might be so focused on getting that, that $10 waffle iron, right, that you might not stop to think if you actually need it. And if you truly never really wanted a waffle iron before the deal, you should probably just take a minute and say, why do you need this now? Because the odds are good that you probably will realize that you don't need or want a waffle iron as much as you thought you did.
You could put it in the closet and save it for the next wedding you're going to go to and give it as a gift.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, this isn't necessarily just a trap that people fall into over the holidays, but because people go out looking for things that they're already not normally buying throughout the year, right? You're talking gifts. And so you start to get into the holiday spirit and the spirit of giving. And then pretty soon all these deals start to look even better because you're in such a giving mood. And so it kind of compounds on each other a little bit. But and that to say, though, even if you do decide that you want to get that, discounted item or that thing that's on sale, you should be aware that those doorbuster items that are always out at the front of the store, sometimes those are actually pretty cheaply made. So you might not be getting as good of a deal as you think. So this is where it's important that you take some time to research any items that are being advertised as those doorbusters, and just make sure that any items that are being heavily discounted are things that you actually want. And if not, save your money for something that is more important to you or the people that you're buying those gifts for.
Absolutely. True story. Out looking for a TV. This is many years ago. Well, not that many. Two identical models, I thought, at two different retailers. Difference in price was over $200. And ends up, there was a difference. You had to look really, really closely at the serial number, or not even the serial number, the model number. And one of them had, like an H at the end of it. The other one didn't. Well, the one with the H was one which was a gutted model. It didn't have a lot of the features that you wanted on the TV. It looked exactly the same. It was the same size, but it was like a stripped down model.
Oh, yeah, that's a super common.
Yeah, so you think you're getting this great deal.
Yeah.
And you're getting the same TV as your brother or whatever, and you get back and, mine doesn't have this, mine doesn't have that. What's the deal?
Yeah.
Close call on my part. Almost bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point, Andy, because that's exactly what I was kind of talking about, that is very common, where they will have very similar models and even made by the same manufacturer,
right,
everything, but they do have like one or two quirks that are just a little bit different that if you aren't looking closely, you will not notice until you've already bought the item. So that's exactly.
But also the idea of buying something because it's on sale is that's a really good point that you made about that. And I know I've seen some pretty good deals, and of course wanted them pretty badly when you see it, and especially if it has anything to do with electronics. I'll be, that's a great deal. So what would be the next
thing? Well, even so there's tons of stuff to think about when it comes to watching out for those, Black Friday kind of Cyber Monday deals. But I think, going back to what we were just making a list before you go shopping, whether you're shopping in store or online, you have to have a list. You have to have a plan for going into this holiday shopping season, especially, right? Because this is a great way to get around that first trap that we just talked about, because you'll have had some time to consider whether or not, some of those doorbuster deals are even something that's on your list. Most of the time they're not for me. So it doesn't even matter how good of a deal the waffle iron is. Nobody in my house is asking for a waffle iron. We already have one. So that we bought for $5.
Sorry, you got one anyway.
So making that list, knowing what it is you're looking for, you can really start to prioritize when you do come across those deals, if you'd like to go after them instead of trying to, hit every store, right? You can kind of start to prioritize and plan your shopping a little bit differently. Additionally, part of making a list is to try to keep you from those impulse buys that we were talking about. But, you can obviously build some flexibility into this, shopping list that you have. And for, maybe you set aside a predetermined amount like $20, $30 where you can just kind of indulge if a good deal comes up, right? Because sometimes it's just fun to buy stuff you didn't think you needed because you found it and you like it. That's, it's the way life is sometimes. But no matter what you choose, just make sure that you feel good about the decision, that you're not necessarily doing it on an impulse, and that you still are able to meet your kind of prioritized list of things that you're going to the store for in the first place, so that you can fulfill all of that without going over budget.
Exactly.
Because you fell into the trap of every store you walked into had some really cool doorbusters, and then you spent all your money on stuff you didn't actually need or nobody actually wants.
I have at least a couple boxes full of stuff that were impulse buys like that, and some of them I could envision a use for, and thought, wow, yeah, I can't pass up this. I might need this someday never used it. It's still sitting there in the box.
Yep.
Useless.
Yep. It happens to everybody at some point, but
even the best of us, right? Okay. We're talking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday shopping season, the traps that lay in wait for all of us to try to separate us from our hard-earned money as we shop for the holidays. And we'll continue that with Jenna Taubel with First Alliance Credit Union on Good Money Moves right after this quick break on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good Money Moves continues in moments with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We're talking Good Money Moves with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back to Good Money Moves. The holiday shopping season is already upon us. Jenna Taubel with First Alliance Credit Union has some tips to help us save some money while we're shopping for our friends and family for the holidays. And before the break, we talked about making a list and sticking to the list so you don't fall for the impulse buy temptation. And the best thing about it probably allows you to take advantage of a good deal if it actually is something you were planning to purchase in the first place. So I guess that would lead me to ask, what is the next holiday shopping trap to avoid?
Yeah, so the next trap is really assuming that the sale price at one store is truly the best price that you can get on that item. And I think one of the biggest reasons everybody shops on Black Friday and Cyber Monday is because the prices are believed to be a bargain. And I say believed because that is not always true.
It's alleged.
There's a lot of hype around Black Friday and Cyber Monday being these great. You can get some really great deals. Don't get me wrong. There's some good deals to be had. However, just because it's something you're buying on Black Friday or Cyber Monday does not automatically mean that's going to be the best price. And I think, this is where, especially if you're doing have the opportunity to do some really good comparison pricing and shopping before you commit to anything. You can use price comparison apps. There's tons of them out there. Honey, Shop Savvy, Shopular, and they can make sure that you're getting the best price on a deal or an item that you're looking to buy. You might also want to check, check online if you're going to go shopping in a store, see if there's any coupons that are, available. Those are still a thing, that you might be able to get some additional discounts. That's especially helpful when you're kind of holiday shopping for food and stuff, I've found. But I think the key here is taking time to do that comparison shopping. You don't just want to assume that Amazon and Walmart are going to give you the best deal on something, because it's not always true. Oftentimes you can find the same or very, very similar items on another legitimate site for cheaper, and they can still get it to you before Christmas.
Yep. I'm big time on that.
I like to use Amazon as a search engine and then go see where else I can get a better deal on whatever it is they're trying to sell me. And I usually can find something else, believe it or not.
The sale price thing that drives
So,
me crazy is when I'm not going to name a retailer, but there's a certain retailer who routinely advertises items as 75 to 80% off. And I would argue that it's so routinely advertised at that price. That's obviously the actual price.
right.
It's a made up number. Allegedly.
Yeah. 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 You just have to be careful. You can't, there are good deals to be had on Black Friday, on Cyber Monday. There's good deals to be had on Amazon, on Walmart, wherever you like to shop. There's good deals to be had, but you have to take time. Again, go back to that list that you should have made before you before you go shopping for the holidays. Have your list ready. Know exactly what it is that you're looking for and what your budget is, and use that information to influence whether or not something is a good deal, not what is being advertised to you.
So I've got my list. Did my research, right? Because that's what we're talking about, comparison shopping.
Yeah. Yep.
And as you pointed out, things may not be as a good a deal as they are portrayed to be. What's the next bit of advice?
Yeah, so I think this is really important too. So this is a big time of year where stores like to push their store cards so that you can get a bigger discount on something, right? They do this throughout the year, but holiday shopping is a big time because they know people are spending and looking for those deals to cut some costs. So, that being said, store cards do offer some great benefits for people who shop at that particular store frequently. And it can even be more compelling if you're offered, right, to save money in the heat of the moment. Again, during kind of those when you're spending more than you normally do.
Right.
However, it's really important to consider that many store cards have some drawbacks, right? They usually have high interest rates and annual fees often involved. So you can easily and very quickly find yourself paying more in interest and fees than you would have on the actual savings you got from those deals or even the discount that you got for opening the card. And if you do want to go get a store card, make sure you know what you're getting into first, right? Figure out what interest rate you can expect to pay, what fees you'll be charged, and what you have to do to earn any rewards or other discounts or benefits that the card comes with. So again, this is not something you should just open on a whim to save 20% in an instant. You really want to, just like any other credit card, you want to understand what you're getting yourself into, and is this really the best financial decision for you to make? Now, that being said, there's nothing wrong with putting your holiday shopping on a credit card. It comes back to having a plan to pay it off within a reasonable amount of time after the holidays, right? You should not still be paying off last year's holiday shopping by now. You really need to have a plan in place. Yeah.
A couple, 3 months, maybe
4 months, have it paid off. Yeah. If you're spending so much that you get that balance paid down in a reasonable amount of time after the holidays are over, you're overextending yourself for the holidays.
Okay.
So you do need to plan ahead on how much you can afford to spend before you go shopping.
I know someone, there's, as you point out, retailers that offer, if you use our store card, an extra 15, 25% off. And that could be a good deal if it's a big item, especially. So this person will put it on the card, get the discount, and immediately take the receipt over to customer service and write a check and pay off the card at the store.
Yeah, that's one way to go about it too. But
that way you
now you're talking, if you do that at every store, now you're affecting your credit score because you're taking out multiple lines of credit. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to opening cards.
You got to be picky because most of them aren't going to offer you that good of a deal in the first place. And as you pointed out, a lot of those store cards have fees. And if you're saving $10, but you're paying a $10 fee, not a good deal. All right. We're talking about holiday shopping, some of the traps that are out there they can get us and cost us some moolah that we don't want to lose, our hard-earned money. Mm-hmm. And we'll continue with that discussion with Jenna Taubel with First Alliance Credit Union after this break on Newstalk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good Money Moves continues in moments with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We're talking Good Money Moves with Andy Brownell and Jenna Taubel from First Alliance Credit Union on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
It's Good Money Moves. We're talking about holiday shopping, how not to spend too much money, some of the pitfalls that await us if we're not paying attention. And I guess if you want to sum it up, right, it's all, let's not get caught up in the heat of the moment, right, Jenna?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of the traps that we've talked about rely on not having enough time to kind of weigh the costs and benefits, and something, whether or not something seems like a good deal, it might actually not be, right? So one way that retailers get you to spend more than you planned is by having you pay full price for accessories. So for instance, let's say there's a video game on sale that your kid wants really bad, right? And you buy the video game and get a good discount, but then you discover, oh wait, this video game, I need to buy special accessories, and I'm going to need batteries for these controllers and new cables and chargers for all this stuff. Those things are almost never on sale. So some retailers might even actually mark them up over the holidays to bring in even more profit, knowing that you can't use certain things without these accessories. So, remember though, this is where you kind of have a little bit of wiggle room. You don't necessarily have to buy accessories the same day or even at the same place that you got, that discounted video game, for example, right? And so again, it just goes back to doing that comparison shopping and planning ahead a little bit so that you really know where you can get the best price for the things that you'll need. And, even especially when it comes to technology, maybe you have some accessories lying around the house already, so maybe you don't have to actually buy all of that stuff. So those are just, again, it's really about going back to planning ahead, knowing what it is you actually need, don't need, and kind of paying attention to some of those ancillary things that you might feel like you have to purchase because you bought something else, especially when it comes to technology buys.
Any other Black Friday traps out there that rely on people getting caught up in the heat of the moment?
Yeah, so there is one trap, and it actually has nothing to do with retailers, and that is that you need to be very careful this time of year about frauds and scams. There are a lot of bad actors out there who like to take advantage of people's Black Friday and Cyber Monday shopping extravaganzas as well. So, people looking for deals are going to overlook some signs of things like fake websites or untrustworthy offers that might get emailed to them that normally they maybe would have been a little bit more diligent about paying attention to. So some really common Black Friday scams that people should be watching out for this time of year are fake order scams, where you get email that says there's a quote unquote problem with your online order. And then you click the link and you get taken to this fake website where the scammers are essentially trying to convince you to give them your personal information to make sure that you're there to resolve this problem, right? Similarly, fake delivery scams use a very similar tactic, only they supposedly come from the UPS or FedEx or Postal Service or whatever. And sometimes it'll be, there's a problem with your delivery, or, hey, your order's been delivered. Click this link for more information. And then the link, of course, goes to a spoofed website that is meant to look like UPS or FedEx. And then you enter your information and it doesn't do anything because that was fake, right? Another thing to kind of really pay attention to is fake shopping sites that are advertising deals that are way better than the other sites, right? So, when you essentially what happens is they act like a very normal store, and they will even take your money, obviously, but then you never actually receive the item that you supposedly purchased from the site because it was a fake shopping site with fake products, all just to get you to send them money. usually through PayPal or a similar service like that.
There are crooks everywhere. I get those delivery
There are.
service notifications constantly. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I even text messages, not just emails, text messages too. I remember just the other day I got one. Oh, your package couldn't be delivered. I'm like, well, I haven't ordered anything, so I have no package. So I know it's not real, right?
Well, that's a great point, especially. Wait a minute, I didn't order anything. So, any final Black Friday traps that we should know about?
Yeah, mail in your rebates. Right. There are a lot of retailers that still require you to mail in a rebate to get your discount or some money back or, whatever. And this is actually at a huge advantage for retailers because most people fail to actually submit their rebates. In fact, according to the website Consumer Affairs, over $500 million in rebates go unclaimed every year. So this is intentional by the retailers, right? They're intended to be a hassle because this discourages you from filling out that rebate form. It also gives companies a reason to not pay you if you don't get the rebate in on time or don't include all the right information. And the more strict companies are with that rebate process, the more chance you'll make a mistake and give the company a reason to deny your rebate. So, really the easiest way to avoid this pitfall is to kind of ignore rebates altogether and just look for an item that offers a low price without having to do that mail-in rebate. Now, if you do want to get that rebate, make sure that you're reading the instructions really carefully and keep detailed record of everything you need to mail in, including the envelope itself. So, and of course, if you haven't seen your rebate after about a month, you might want to contact the company and check on the status of your rebate and make sure it didn't get lost in the process.
Right. There's one particular retailer that insists that you attach the original receipt with the rebate form. Like, well, what am I supposed to do if it breaks and I need to return it? Oh, okay. Right. Fantastic information, Jenna, as always. And of course, it's a big topic, holiday shopping. I'm sure there's a lot more information out there. Maybe you can help us find it.
Absolutely. I encourage our listeners to visit our website, firstalliancecu.com. You can subscribe to our blog. We release new financial tips and advice every week. You can listen to past episodes of Good Money Moves at firstalliancecu.com/podcast or on kerosnews.com. You can also subscribe to Good Money Moves on Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts. And if you love the show, please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite platform. And of course, I strongly encourage you to reach out to our team at First Alliance Credit Union. They are here to help you start making good money moves today.
All right. That's First Alliance Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA and an equal housing lender. Jenna, thanks so much. Look forward to doing this again next week.
Of course.
This is Good Money Moves, and this is also News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.